Welcome to Tiny Game Chronicles episode 40. My name is Marcus, and here with my good friend Michael, every other week we discuss games that are quick plays but epic journeys. It's great to see you today, Michael. How are we doing, my friend?
I am very well, Marcus. I got a little bit of a fright. 40 episodes, my
40,
friend.
I know.
40 episodes.
Mhm. Not
Wow.
bad,
We've
right?
been at this for 20 months.
I'll take your word for it. I'm not counting back. Yeah, I'll take your word for it. Pretty close, I think.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Absolutely.
Yeah.
The 5-0 is coming up, catching up on my age slowly but surely. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. We'll have to make a big deal when we each reach our age episode.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we're not quite there
How are
yet.
you, Marcus?
I'm doing
Yeah,
good.
very
I'm
good.
doing good.
Yeah.
It's snowing again here, Michael. We got to give
Oh, no
a little bit of a
ways.
weather report. Yeah. We got
Oh,
probably about 5 centimeters. It's still like coming down right now.
okay.
I'm done. I'm done with this winter, as is usually the case around this time of year. We've had a few kind of warmer days, and now
Uh,
it's just getting cold again, and I've had enough. Let's let's
gotcha.
let's end this stuff. Let's
Spring, please come.
spring,
It's
please.
raining here where we are, so
I would
yeah, I'm
take
with
that
you.
at this point. I would take
Okay.
some rain. Yeah. Okay, Michael, before we get into our game for today, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Have you ever scrapbooked before?
Oh, Marcus. I am definitely not a scrapbook type of person. I have a cousin that does that quite religiously. So if you look at my photos on my mobile phone, for example, or on my cloud, they're all unsorted. I think the system is able to save it, with regards to a specific date and year these photographs were taken. I think deep within me there is a wish that maybe they would be a bit more, I don't know, sorted, or I don't know, put together for memories. Um Having said that, when my daughter was born and we sent our parents some pictures, I did make like photo albums for a year
Yeah.
with regards to a year in the life of, right, my daughter, and then I don't know, no, the year that she was born, and I think I did that up to, I don't know, she was 6 or 7, and so every year we sent my parents a photo album. But that is the only time, if I can call it scrapbooking, that I put together a photo album.
Yeah.
That's kind of the honest. That's kind of the honest reply. So yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Marcus?
Well, I'm sure this is going to come out as a huge surprise to our listeners, but I'm not a very big scrapbooker either, Michael.
I
Um,
thought so.
I was thinking a little bit about, we've done the photo album thing too. We've done it
Hmm,
for our son Miles. We've done it
hmm,
for some of the travels that we've done.
hmm,
I always like having the book done,
hmm.
but I
Yep.
don't find a lot of joy in actually creating the book. So I find it pretty onerous. We've been meaning to do one for Miles for a while now, an updated one,
Right.
and have not gotten around to it. I was also thinking, like, when I was a kid, we
Hmm,
collected, like, again, being from Canada, hockey
hmm.
cards, baseball cards, hockey
Yes.
cards. But there was also, like, before I even got into hockey cards, there were these sticker books that it was basically
Yes.
just like collecting cards, but you'd buy packs of stickers and you get a random selection of stickers and try to fill your book. So I still have a few of these. They're so in such rough shape, but my mom had saved them and gave them to me a few years ago. So I have a few. It's not a scrapbook, but it's kind of a similar idea where you're putting together this book of you're a bit of a collection. So that's the
I
closest thing
I'm
I've ever done, I think, to scrapbooking.
I'm gonna join you. Those panini stickers,
Yes,
right?
panini. You're right. Yeah, that's right. Wow. Wow. So did you do what
I
sport did you have?
used
Was
to
it
do them.
football,
So I used
baseball?
to I used to do them for football, believe it or
Football.
not. So
Yep.
whenever there was a World Cup, we had
Okay.
all the various
Yeah, yeah,
countries
yeah.
with all the, and for me, it was a great way to get to know all those foreign players, right? If
Yes.
that actually makes sense, right? So who are all the players in Argentina? Who are
Hmm.
all the players of Chile? Because I was living in Chile then. I remember that was like one of the, and I think and maybe this was the way I appreciated animation and Disney. There were also from Panini. I don't know, some Disney characters out. I don't know, Disney with a theme, and then you had all the villains and all the heroes. Marcus, I must have been, I don't know, 4 or 5,
Yeah.
right? I think, right, when I did those. And I had lots of fun. And my mum, so there were always kind of prizes with these Panini albums, right? Whenever you sent a full album in, you got something.
Oh, okay.
And so my mum used to, I don't know, I think the Panini albums got stamped, and then you could take it with you again, and the stamp kind of meant that you qualified for some sort of prize. And my mum then used to take these and put these books in a bath that all the stickers came off, and then kind of re-glued them in a new book, and we only got the stickers where the pages were stamped, if that makes sense, right?
Oh, okay.
To
Okay.
to complete a new book. So my mum was actually quite clever with
Okay.
regards to how quickly we completed
Well, I
this book. So I think
remember.
she was
Yeah. So
just as fan as I was. Yeah.
yeah,
Mm.
I remember. You'd be missing like just a handful, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
you could
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
collect and save the little packages that they came in, and it's
Yes.
like I don't know what it was, 5 or 10 packs or whatever. You could send in and get a. You could specify which sticker you wanted back,
Yeah,
and they'd
yeah,
mail it
yeah,
to
yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah, 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 exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. I remember.
yeah,
And then, and obviously in football also, during school break, or whenever we had breaks in school, we used to then exchange it, no, with
yeah. Of course.
another collector, no, with
Yes.
regards to what players do you
Yep.
have, what players did they have, and
Definitely.
it was
Definitely.
fun. It
Th-
was fun. Yeah. Thank you for bringing back those memories. I
yeah.
haven't thought about that in
Yeah.
donkey years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny. That's
Uh,
funny.
Very funny.
Panini. I forgot the name, but yeah, absolutely Panini. Yeah, that's a good memory. Yeah. Okay, the reason, of
Very good.
course, that we're talking about scrapbooking, not, I guess we're kind of a little scrapbooking adjacent. How about
Yes.
scrapbooking adjacent? Is because our game today is all focused around this scrapbooking mechanic. And the name of that game is Piece Together.
Mhm,
But before we talk about Piece Together, just wanted to mention our previous episode. Don't get your hopes up. A cute little visual novel, interactive story, free,
mhm, mhm.
talking about the housing crisis in Amsterdam, but really, the in the larger scope than just that.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's a slice of life. It's a game, if you can call it a game, obviously making a political statement. Yeah, and definitely one that takes certain things to the extreme, but it's a free game and it's worthwhile the time that you invest in order just to kind of get that message across. Yeah, Mark, I enjoyed it, Marcus.
Yeah,
Very nice one.
yeah. Okay, Michael, let's get into our discussion about Pieced Together.
Mhm,
Pieced Together released on PC just a few weeks ago as of recording here, March 6th, 2026. It was developed and published by a two-person team, female-led developer by the name of Glowfrog Games.
mhm,
Um, in Piece Together, you play as an adult version of a character named Connie, who is putting together a scrapbook of her memories of a childhood friend by the name of Beth,
mhm,
she's since like drifted apart from.
mhm,
The gameplay involves sorting through these mementos, solving light puzzles as you prepare a scrapbook of your time, uh, your relationship with Beth, and you get to learn as a player the story of Connie and
mm.
Beth. It's currently sitting, Michael, at an 86 on OpenCritic, so
Wow.
it has been quite well received. Only a
Yeah.
handful of reviews, but still quite well received by the people who have played it so far. We start out these conversations, Michael, by asking ourselves 3 questions. What did you play it on? About how long did it take you to beat? And what are some high level thoughts you have about the game?
So I played it on PC, Marcus, this time. It took me just under 3 hours to complete everything. It's a cozy scrapbooking puzzle game. I think maybe that's the best way to describe it. It's a, I would maybe call it a very gentle, short, emotional game. It's about obviously the pains and joys of growing up. Um, and if I were to give this game an alternative title, which I obviously love to do, I would call this game The Things We Keep. Yeah, kind of reflecting that scrapbooking idea with regards to keeping those mementos that are important to you. So even though it's very calm on the surface, I think there is a poignancy underneath that surface, right? A kind of a quiet ache and it makes you choose what you decide to hold on to, Marcus. Those are my top line thoughts. What about you?
Yeah, so I played this game on my laptop. It's
Okay.
not Steam Deck verified. I think it would, there's a lot of like dragging, clicking on
Hmm.
and dragging items and mementos and to place on certain spots on the page. And that would, I think, have been a nightmare on Steam
Yeah,
Deck. So I did play it
I
on my
can imagine
laptop.
so.
Um, my laptop, I think, was kind of just on the verge of being able to handle this game. My laptop's not the newest computer, so it kind of chugged at a couple of points when I had a bunch of stuff
Okay.
on the screen, but otherwise it handled it okay. It took me a little under 2 hours to beat.
Okay.
I don't think I was uh, as we're going to get into, I was
Mm.
less engaged with decorating my page, so I was just trying to get stuff onto the page. So I didn't spend a lot of time like organizing things in a just the right way. So I think that probably sped up my game
Mm.
play time a little bit. High level thoughts. The gameplay was probably a bit of a mixed bag for me, but I did
Mm.
really enjoy the narrative of this game. I
Hmm.
think it is a very relatable narrative, kind of
Yeah,
talking about, friendships, examining these friendships that people have from childhood and how those friendships evolve into adulthood. I could think of lots of examples in my own life that were not dissimilar to the relationships with Connie and Beth. So
hmm.
we'll probably get into that a little bit as well when we do our deeper dive discussion. Okay, let's give folks. Okay, next, Michael, will you just like to give our listeners a brief reminder about how we talk about games on Tiny Game
Mhm,
Chronicles? We like to identify 3 things that we think particularly stood out about a game, do a deeper
mhm.
dive discussion on each of those three things. And most times on Tiny Game Chronicles, we'll do it here. We're going to avoid spoilers, at least narrative spoilers. We're not going to talk any specifics about the narrative.
Yeah,
We'll probably talk about mechanics that happen more or less throughout the game, but we'll keep the narrative spoilers to a minimum. So I think if you haven't played Piece Together, you are more than safe to listen to our discussion.
absolutely.
Okay, Michael, let's get into our deeper dive discussion. We can start out with standout item number 1, which is really, we wanted to hit it right off the bat, the scrapbooking gameplay. I don't know that I've ever played a game before. Not that this is necessarily a genre that I would gravitate towards, but I don't think I've ever played a game that had a scrapbooking mechanic as its main gameplay mechanic. Why don't you get us started? How did you like the scrapbooking mechanic? Um, yeah, let's just start there. How did you like it?
So I actually enjoyed it. It's not a Panini experience, or though it has some Panini elements,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's right.
to it, if it makes sense. I felt like I was at a crafting kind of table, if that makes sense, because part of this game shows, that you have an envelope, right, where all sorts of things are in this envelope. I think there's also a printer that comes up without bringing up any spoilers or things like that. So you had the opportunity to pick up certain photographs, scraps, tiny objects, and then integrate them as you were honoring. Not necessarily, I never felt like, Marcus, and maybe this is one of the things that this game does incredibly well. It didn't feel like I'm always solving a puzzle.
Mm.
It felt like I'm honoring a memory of someone, if that makes sense, right? And these pictures come up, and as you try and decipher what might be happening on this picture. So it seems that the game is very slow, very deliberate in what it was trying to do, almost meditative. And I think that's what I truly enjoyed. The None of the puzzles were really hard, but they were kind of gentle puzzles that kind of felt meaningful. So you kind of, realize, okay, well, what is it required of you? So don't think that there is anything here that you would consider is not solvable, right? Or I don't know, this is not Monkey Island, right?
Definitely not.
If,
No.
if that makes sense. And I think that in the actions of putting all these little pieces together, is you're caring for someone's story. And it's, yeah, kind of, I think, transforms sorting stuff into honoring moments.
Hmm.
And I think this is what I took out of it. I mean, how was it for you? You didn't spend much time, as you said, decorating pages, but did you feel like more that you were, looking at it as a puzzle, organizing pictures and things like that? Or did it feel like you're looking after someone's memories?
Well, I think early on I felt like the game is split into 6 chapters, right? 6 chapters.
Correct.
So like
Correct.
early on it felt to me more like just busy work, like just as a
Okay.
quick means to progress the story was like, okay, I just got
Right.
to get these things onto the page. I'm again, I wasn't super interested in like
Hmm.
decorating the page in a way and laying things out, adding stickers, which you can or you don't have to. Like it doesn't
Exactly. It's
change anything.
optional.
It's completely optional. That's
Yeah.
not me. Like I don't play animal. I don't care about what. I just want to kind of get to the next point. Like for me, the decoration aspect was completely just uninteresting. Like, but
You're not an Animal Crossing type of
not an
person,
Animal
right?
Crossing type person. Sorry, sorry, listeners, that's not me. But
Sorry, Fulia.
but
Yeah.
uh I did enjoy actually the light puzzles that they had. So
Yeah.
like there were definitely times when you had to put things down in a different order, and this kind of gameplay evolves over the course of those 6 chapters. I really like the mechanics that they introduced in the last chapter, where they're, I guess, encouraging players to look at things in social media and like trying to
Yep.
find photographs that they may have posted on their social media or text messages and stuff like that, and then printing them out and then putting them in a certain, you know, in a certain orders on the page. I liked that
Hmm.
experience
That
because
element, exactly.
it
Hmm.
was an interesting way to convey story, because you didn't have to go to the social media feed in the same order. You could have went to social media, you could have went started through text messages through different people, so you didn't have to it wasn't telling you like a very sequential story. You're getting bits and
Correct.
pieces of this period of time in these characters lives through I guess non-sequential, and it
Hmm.
still all worked, right?
Hmm.
Um, that's getting into, so I'll leave that kind of, that's probably more narrative stuff. But like the actual gameplay around solving those puzzles, I actually quite enjoyed. It was just that minutia, the kind of what felt to me a bit like busy work. I was just like,
Hmm.
eh, that's fine. And fortunately, the game allowed you to bypass and engage with that as much as you wanted. I didn't get
Correct.
penalized for not putting a bunch of stickers on my page. Like the worst thing that happened is I didn't get the achievement for, what was it, putting 50 stickers
50 stickers on there, which I
throughout the
didn't
book.
know happened. It just saw it pop
Yeah,
eventually. So,
so I didn't get that one, but that's fine. Like
hmm.
that didn't interest me, and I was able to kind of bypass it and just move on and really move the story along, which was the main driver for me anyways.
And I think I'm totally okay with that. Maybe just a quick reminder to our friend Nagachaka, right? So Nagachaka, make sure that you put in 50 stickers if you want to get the plat for this game, right? So
The Stillatinum. This is only a
there's
PC
still
game.
Latinum. There we
Yeah.
go. Exactly.
That's right. So, well, I think we can move on to our second standout, Michael. So,
Hmm.
this game, is a cozy game. They mention it. It's a cozy scrapbooking game kind of in the marketing materials. We've established a little bit here already. We've spoken about cozy games, Michael, and they don't tend to be your thing. Did the cozy vibes in Piece Together, I don't know, warm your cold, dead heart or not?
Oh, Marcus, what a way to put this. Damned if I tell you the truth and damned if I don't, right? So Yeah, so I think it did not achieve me to appreciate cozy games more. I think I still stand by my initial point that, cozy games for me are still very much safe spaces. And definitely not for me. We talked briefly about a game that we had played previously, like Despelote, if you remember, where Despelote really was about capturing a moment in time in Ecuadorian history, around the World Cup, right, when Ecuador, I'm not exactly sure what year it was, 1970 something, right, 1973 it
No, it's
could
the
be.
early 2000s in
Oh,
Despelote.
is it the early 2000s? Oh,
Yep,
sorry. Okay,
yep,
there we go.
yep.
Early 2000s. And I think there, with regards to how that narrative was told, trying to capture a moment in time, because of the various art forms that they used, the game recordings, etc., it had a very different feeling to this. This definitely, with regards to the soft lighting that was used, the warm colors, I don't know, the kind of, sunset, walk in the forest, type of elements or pictures or graphics that were portrayed, definitely puts it in the cozy corner, right? With the acoustic music, the kind of gentle voice, it kind of feels very intimate. Um,
Here, I'm going to ask you a
I
question. I'm going to interrupt here.
Yes, go for it.
Could this game have
Hmm.
pulled off a non-cozy, like just aesthetic, let's say? Could it
Hmm.
have done a more Despelote style aesthetic and still worked? Because for me, I will say that I feel like the choice to present and use a cozy art style aesthetic kind of presentation is a perfect fit for what this type of game is. And I'd be curious
Totally.
to know if you think it could have worked if it didn't have that cozy aesthetic.
It could have worked if the narrative would have been slightly different, but
Mm,
I think that this cozy feel suits the narrative 1,000%.
okay.
So it goes into some uncomfortable places, but it doesn't go into any, like, what my heart desires, like really dark dark black spaces, right, dripping with blood,
Yeah.
right? So no, it doesn't go there. And maybe that's why the art form as we have it here suits the narrative 100%. Having said that, right, I'm being a little bit facetious. The fact that this is a poignant a story to tell. So there is, underneath all this comfort, um, there is an ache, right? There is a feeling of, I don't know, separation, of missing, of longing, to a time where perhaps things were more connected, where the liveliness of friendship was perhaps more present. And I think this is what the game uh, does superbly well, is to transport that kind of feeling. The fact that it lets those emotional moments arrive softly, right? There's no jump scare here,
No.
right? And so, yeah, that's why it gets a nod. It's the perfect game for those who want the kind of cozy, safe experience. And just know that I think certain things will move you. And I'm not saying that I wasn't moved because I have a pretty hard heart. But I did notice what this game was doing.
Yeah.
So, and for that, I give it the nod.
Yeah.
How was it for you, Marcus? Did you get emotional with this game, or did some of those emotional heartstrings, did they get touched by what this game was trying to do?
Well, maybe I'll answer that question, but I think it probably dovetails into our next
Okay.
standout a little bit. So, why
Yeah.
don't we say standout number 3 is we wanted to discuss how this game
Hmm.
in its narrative explores the evolution or the life of a friendship. Um,
Yep.
and I think that, this is absolutely the strength to answer your question. I think it
Yep.
really worked for me. I think that
Mm.
this the story that's told in Piece Together was really relatable for me. I
Yes.
thought, reflected back on many relationships that I've had, many friendships that I've had through childhood, and thinking about those, how those relationships grew. Maybe not necessarily, maybe some of them from childhood, some of them friends that I made in university that, we were excellent friends through university, have still stayed in
Mm.
touch, but have definitely drifted apart in the
Mm.
last, decade or something like this, maybe a little bit more than that at this point.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I felt like it told a really good story. And I think like you got to see maybe some of the inciting incidents that
Yeah.
started to cause this. Again, uh, it wasn't necessarily like some big fight that
Exactly.
happened. It was really just a growing apart that these characters experienced, and like it didn't have to be a big traumatic thing, but it was
Exactly.
like this adult Connie being able to reflect about, kind of like, think back to all these fond memories that she had of her time with her friend Beth, and um how some of the really great times they had as kids, kind of what happened as they're growing up, and then kind of where they are today. And
Mm.
I don't know, it just felt really real to me and really relatable. I
Mm.
know that the devs, I was reading just on their the website or the webpage for this
Mm.
game, um
Mhm.
they specifically say that they drew from real life experiences, and it's
It
pretty evident,
shows.
right? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is perhaps I'm not exactly sure how many games are able to transport um this idea across as successfully as this specific game, because it tells you to take an honest look about how adult friendships actually work, if that makes sense, right? The fact that certain aspects that are so important for us, like best friends forever, right? When we are at that
Mhm.
specific age, and regardless what happens to us in life, we, are gonna stick together. We're gonna go through it together. That kind of camaraderie is in many cases not sustainable throughout life, and for me very poignant, because not through choice of my own. I need to travel a lot
Mhm.
in my life, kind of, continent hopping, right? From Germany or from Europe to South America, from South America to the US, from the US to South Africa, back to Germany. That none of those early relationships, I could never see them through, right? It
Mhm.
was always I don't know, a short time of, you know, yeah, I don't know, from 2 to 8 years generally, before I had to either change countries or change schools. Um, and so I do have the feeling today, right, that this is perhaps the time that I was able to, because I've been in Germany now for over 20 years, to kind of really set my roots.
Mhm.
Um, and those relationships that I have with my friends in South Africa, I did tell you that I still have a very good friend. We only see each other once every 4 years, and we only write each other doing birthdays and anniversaries. Um, and we kind of hit it off, 5 minutes after meeting again. It's as if, those 4 years had never passed. And we've had a few of those sessions already, right? In the meantime, almost 25 years have passed and we have not had regular contact.
Right.
Um, and yes, you do see how someone ages and, is not maybe the person that you remember, from the way back when. But I think that you still grasp the essence or core of who they were. You've accepted them then and you still accept them now. And I think this is kind of bittersweet. Not every relationship can be like that. I'm fortunate to have a relationship like that. But I think that this game teaches us also the important lesson is how to let go gracefully,
Yeah.
right? Of relationships that we can no longer maintain. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Marcus, just like you, I have those experiences as well,
Yeah.
right?
I was actually thinking as you're talking, like we had a really close group, and so I met my wife at university. So we were
Mhm.
friends with a lot of the same people, and I think that we were very close in university.
Mm,
A lot of our friends started having kids within a few years, 4 or 5
mm.
years of university. We didn't. And so like that I think
Interesting.
introduced a big gap between where we were each at in our lives, right? And
Yep. Yeah.
it created a bit of distance,
A
and
distance.
and
Totally.
so that you're kind of at different spots in your life. Even though you're the same age, you're just doing different life kind of like things, right? And I think that, and even now, like now we have a very young son. All of our university friends who have kids are teenagers, like going to university themselves, right?
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
so we're still in very, very different spots. So,
Mm,
the odd time that we do connect with them, there is less in common than there once was, right? And so
yeah. Yeah.
those friendships are different, even if they would still say that they're friendships, and still, even when we're together, still have a good time. But
Mm,
those are much fewer and farther between, these last few years, especially. And it's, yeah, there's something that's sad about it, but also you can still like reflect, as Connie was doing, at the good times that you had, and honor that as well,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think if you just spin the story a little bit further, so we have a lot of pensioners living in the area that we live.
Mm,
Obviously, in the meantime, some have passed. But it was very interesting as one of my neighbors, Klaus, this is a typical German name, right?
sure. Yeah.
He passed away about 2 years ago. And he just said, Michael, that the aspect of friendship changes again once you retire,
Mm,
because all those friends within the work environment, right? You don't see all those connections, all those contacts, and then in getting older can become very lonely,
sure.
right? Because you don't have those inner circles anymore. And he says the highlight for him is to go to the pub once a week and meet his old work friends,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
And I think he lived to be 89. And he just came back from the pub one week, and he said, "Michael, you know what? So it's so sad. Every time I go to the pub, my friends are becoming less and less.
Uh,
So
yeah.
just because they pass, but
Yeah.
it's an interesting kind of story to hear,
Yeah.
and yeah, and for you just to reflect on, how precious friendships are.
Yeah.
And I think this is what the game also wants to communicate is it's totally okay to honor those friendships. And I
Yeah.
think when you reach the end of the game, there was a choice that you need to make,
Mm,
and yeah, so I'd love to hear if you actually do want to comment on our Discord, if you do play this game.
yeah.
What was the choice that you made?
Right.
So
Yeah. I
with the
mean,
spoiler tags, of
yeah, of
course.
course, of course, of course. And
Yeah.
yeah, it really struck me like how people
Mhm.
move in and out of your lives, right? Like the people
Yeah,
that are so
100%.
important at certain moments, and then
Yeah,
like a decade later, 5 years later, they're n- they're nowhere in your life. It doesn't mean they're not important to you. It doesn't mean that you can't honor that time that you had, but you in the moment where they're so important, it's hard to envision there being a time when they aren't. Um,
exactly.
and one thing that I think about, I've talked about in the past, that we spent 3 years in living in Cairo in Egypt,
Yeah.
and you know we developed some really great friendships there. We haven't been back to Egypt since. This is now coming up on, geez, like 13 13 years, I think. Coming up on 13
Wow.
years since we moved there. We were there for
Wow.
3 years. I still think very fondly. Every once in a while, there's a couple people we might get a message on Facebook or something like that.
Mm.
Um, but that's it. And they were so integral and so important. That is such a seminal moment
Mm.
in both
Mm.
Lindsay and my life. And Now they're not in it. They're not really, like, for all intents and purposes, in our lives at all anymore. It's hard to kind of like to, I don't know, think about that. There's something that's a bit painful about it, maybe even.
Totally,
Yeah, like,
totally,
yeah.
totally. And it
So
sometimes just happens. I mean,
yeah,
you just look at our experience being part of so many communities that we are as gamers,
sure.
right? With regards to the people that come into our lives and then also are no longer part of our lives. Yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's very poignant.
yeah,
It's a little bit painful, no?
yeah.
As you mentioned. Yeah. But that's life.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
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 So I don't know. I
Mm,
think that, if you hadn't kind of appreciated that, it was certainly my highlight of this game, and I think
yeah.
it just does
I'm with you.
such a great job at illustrating all of what we've talked about. So okay, Michael, we're going to pass on the community standouts. We're just, again, a peek behind the curtain. We're recording this episode before we've even announced the next one to the public, so we weren't able to
Exactly.
call this one out. But we'll get back to doing community standouts for our next episode. And so Michael will typically do a call out in our Discord. If you've played the game and you have anything you want to share, things that you thought particularly stood out the game, you can write them in response to Michael's message in the Discord, and we will read them
Yes.
out on the show.
Perfect.
Okay, Michael, we wrap these discussions up by asking ourselves if we would recommend the game, and if so, to whom.
So, this makes it a bit more difficult for me. But I think if you're a puzzle fan and you like scrapbooking,
Yep.
guess what? This is a gentle, short game, and I would say definitely for you. If story is important for you, if you don't mind cozy games, this is a wholesome game, right? That's how I would define it. And yeah, if you, I don't know, if there is sort of coming of age stories, this is a coming of age story per se. And if you like reflecting, have no issue with being a bit nostalgic, no, with regards to how things were when you were growing up, then I would say this game is for you. This game is not for you if you want something darker. If you
Yeah. If you have a cold heart like Michael, probably not for you. Yeah.
What about you, Marcus? Would you recommend it?
I would. Yeah. I mean, with the
Mm.
caveat that you just said, like, I mean, if you're
Yeah, yeah.
looking for action, if you're looking for something a little bit, again, I think that there is a bit of a heavy component to this, but maybe a little
Mm,
bit, I don't know, a little bit darker, I guess, is really
mm,
honestly what it is. This isn't really
mm.
that. Um,
Yeah.
but I do think it tells a really, really great story. I think that your mileage may vary a little bit on the scrapbooking gameplay of it,
Mm,
but don't let that deter you too much, because you don't really have to engage with it beyond just solving these light puzzles and just getting, using it as a means to allow you to experience the story. So
yeah.
um again, the scrapbooking was a mixed bag for me, but it didn't really detract from my overall experience. So I
Or your
or
enjoyment
my
that much,
enjoyment
right?
of the
Yeah.
particularly of the story. So
Yeah.
again, as we do this is short, 2 hours, maybe a little bit longer if you do like doing the scrapbooking stuff,
Stickers.
stickers, um, and relatively cheap too. I think this one was,
Yeah.
like, I don't know, less than $10 US. So
Yeah, exactly. It's still on sale,
yeah,
20% off.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, pretty big recommendation for me, I would say.
Thumbs up.
Okay, so that's a wrap, Michael, on episode number 40. Just a little bit of housekeeping before we finish things up here. Of course, we would really appreciate it if you shared, liked, subscribed, and left us a 5-star review wherever you happen to be listening. Aside from that, you can follow the show on Blue Sky at Tiny Game Chronicles. You can follow me on Blue Sky at Marcus O'Neill 79. You can also find me on the 2 other podcasts that I do: Hype Factor, a fantasy critic podcast where me and my good friend John talk about all things fantasy critic. That's a monthly show. And then also the other show that I do is called Brothers from Another Mothership, or BFAM for short, where me and 3 really great friends, Ron, Matt, and Quag, get together. Also a monthly show, although it feels like we're doing 2 a month these days. We do some bonus episodes where we mostly argue about video games, talk about video games, pick a topic. We did an episode where we designed our most our BFAM video game, which was a lot of fun to do. We do some kind of deep dives on particular games. We just released a Claire Obscure Expedition 33 episode. So if that sounds interesting, you can check that out.
And I must say, I really enjoyed the latest Hype Factor episode. You had a special guest on.
We did.
Which was the Doctor.
Doctor is in. Dr. Garrett Bland joined us for that one, yeah.
Dr. Garrett Bland. And I loved his insight. I actually listened to the episode today. And really, really well done. Very professionally done, Marcus. And I think that the insights that you guys provide with regards to any new games that are being released, how they might score on Fantasy Critic, and how that will affect our biddings or the type of games that we bid for. You guys do an incredible job. Obviously, we're all hoping that you guys will lose at the end of the year.
That's right.
Yeah. in our leagues. But I mean, that is kind of just a little friendly nudge, and we're just teasing you guys at the end of the day.
Of course.
But wonderfully done.
Yeah, thank you.
Well done, Marcus. Yeah.
Michael, where can people find you?
So you can also find me on Blue Sky under Drellesh, DRELLESH, as well as on our tiny Discord. The link to our Discord will be on the show notes. So please feel free to join us. And yeah, there are tons of tiny game recommendations that you can follow. There's obviously also other content, that you can listen to or post there. And you're welcome to join our tiny, but I would say very wholesome family.
Yeah. Cozy, maybe. Cozy family?
Cozy.
No.
Well,
maybe not.
Not everyone is cozy, but
you can also find Tiny Game Chronicles on YouTube. We release the mostly unedited episodes over there, and do some shorts from at least one short per episode. Yep. You can also find Tiny Game Chronicles writing articles for So Many Games. So the website there is somanygames.co.uk. I'm not sure when the article will be going live. It may be live by the time this episode comes out. It may be coming very, very soon, but I have written an article for Pony Island that will be appearing on our Tiny Game Chronicles Monthly. I think that's what we're calling it.
Yeah, that's what we're calling it, exactly.
So you can check it out there. We'll link it. We'll link it in the show notes whenever that link goes live. So
exactly. So every month there'll be one article out, a musical story, which was the one that I wrote for March. April is coming up, and then we'll have Pony Island written by Marcus, and the rest, whatever's coming up in May.
Yep.
You'll have to see. Stay tuned to find out.
That's exactly. Okay. The only thing we still need to do, Michael, is introduce our next game. So this game was developed and published by a company that we've actually played 2 previous games for before on the show. The name of that developer is Inkle. This game is described as a wild adventure through the Scottish Highlands. And the name of that game, Michael, is...
What is it, Marcus?
Have you forgotten?
A Highland song.
Yes, a Highland song. Yes. Even though Michael has forgotten, we're going to be doing a Highland song. He's got plenty of time to remember the name and to learn the title.
Yes.
But yes. Highland Song has been one that actually was on my radar even before I had played anything from Inkle. I remember looking at it and thinking, oh, this looks kind of interesting. It's kind of a side scroller. I think there's multiple branching paths narratively. It's going to be on the long side of the tiny game criteria. I think this kind of clocks in typically around that 5-hour mark.
5-ish hours. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But I mean, Inkle does good stuff. I know that you've played their most recent game a couple months ago, TR49,
exactly,
and enjoyed it quite a bit as well. So.
Excellent game. It's definitely not a Marcus game, though,
a little too puzzly for me, I think. Yeah. But
we'll see. Maybe one day, Marcus, we'll convince you to play it. Well, we try and do one Inkle game a year.
There you go.
Just because of the quality game, the quality that they have. And there's still tons that we we still want to play that we haven't played yet that will also still qualify as tiny. So
Yeah.
let's
they've
see
got a few others
what next
as well.
exactly
So yeah,
what next year brings. Yeah. So yeah, a Highland song. Let's see.
a Highland song. Okay, I guess that's everything for us today, Michael. I will just end things by saying thank you for listening, and we will be back in 2 weeks with
a Highland song.
A Highland song. Bye-bye.
See you then. Bye, everyone.